Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is Monday, April 23rd. How are you? What's shaking, everyone? I'm fresh back from Nashville. An incredible weekend. Wow, what a great weekend. If you're a brand new listener and you saw me in Nashville, welcome aboard. And what took you so long? Anyway. Went to Nashville. Haven't been to Nashville since I think around 2000. I don't know, maybe 2, 3, or 4, something like that. A long fucking time ago. And I remember a long time ago I was digging Nashville, and this time it was even better. Nashville is basically, it felt like L.A. You know, it felt like I was in L.A., man. I was just running in and hanging out with old friends. It was incredible. A lot of people have moved out there, and I could see why. It's a cool, mellow city, big time. It's got some good food. It's got some good scenery. It's got some good people. It's got some historic venues, and I dug it. I dug it big time. Yeah, got to see some old friends. First, I got in on I think it was a Thursday night, flew in, Bill Burr and I. Bill was feeling under the weather, and which sucks. There's nothing worse than being on the road and being sick, like the flu or a cold or whatever, but that's part of it, man. You're out working, and that man powered through and had some smashing shows. We did the Ryman, the world-famous Ryman. And I got to tell you, for a minute, on the first show, I kind of just forgot where I was for a minute, walked down on stage, and after about 3 minutes into my set, I just stopped for a minute and was like, wait a minute. I'm at the fucking Ryman. And I just took it in and slowed down and started to enjoy the ride. God, this place is historic. Built in 1892. And just, you know, I mean, everyone has stood on that wood and sang and played songs and probably told jokes like we did all weekend or whatever. Town hall meetings, churches, all kinds of stuff that went on in that historic building. It's just a monumental historic landmark. It's just incredible to be in there and think about it. Somebody was telling me, I don't know if this is true, I forgot to ask, but somebody's telling me James Taylor played it. And as soon as he was done with his set, like he stood up and he signed the stage with a marker. And somebody told me that he got banned for that. I should have asked about that. Can you imagine? You're just like, all right, man, thanks for having me. I'm just going to sign this historic stage no one else had signed. Not Johnny Cash, not Hank Williams, not Willie Nelson. Not Dolly Parton, you know, not Elvis Presley. Yeah, insane. That's just classic. I don't know if it's true, but anyway, the Ryman was, you know, Bill played the Ryman, and I was there for as the opening act, you know. It was funny. I was talking to Bill, man, and I'd done Zanies. Also all weekend. It was the Nashville Comedy Festival. And once they heard I was there, this amazing woman, Lucy from Zanies, reached out and said, do you want to do some sets? And I was just, I was honored, man. Once in a while, the people do it old school. Lucy, old school, you know. Oh, Dean's in town. Let's have him on the stage. Reached out to me, emailed me, do you want to do some shows? I did them. And it was just incredible. But I was talking to Bill, and he's like, yeah, you know, I did Zanies many times. I think the last time I did it was 8 years ago. And I was like, 8 years ago? That's about how long I've been doing comedy. And in that 8 years, he went from Zanies to doing the Ryman every year, multiple nights. So, man, it's great to see Bill just out there killing it, and fans just enjoying it, the smiles on their faces. And I love being part of that. I can't thank Bill enough. Just amazing. I just learn all the time. It's like I got to just keep hitting it, got to get funnier, got to work harder, got to grind and do it and get myself there. You know what I mean? Get myself somewhere in that pocket. Nashville. Wow, man. I got to hang out. Like I said, the first night I got there, Bill wasn't feeling well, so Jay Buchanan from the Rival Sons picked me up at the hotel. We went to a weird, seedy diner and talked rock and roll and comedy all night. And just to hang out with this man and shoot the shit when we're not working and have a good few hours was just incredible to catch up with him. And he's become an amazing friend of mine over the last 6-7 years, since the first time I had him on the podcast years ago. I think about just riding my motorcycle out to Long Beach, meeting this stranger in a recording studio and talking to him for a couple hours when the Pressure and Time record had just come out. And I think about how long ago that was and how many good times we've had since then. And it's just incredible to see him out there. And he played me some of the new record. Wow. Rival Sons got a great new record getting ready to come out for you guys, man. I heard some of the songs. I heard 5 songs. And they are smoking. So I'm pretty damn fired up to help them promote that thing when it comes out and spread the word like fire, because they got a great rock record. Let's see, what else? I got to see Allison Mosshart from The Kills, another great friend who lives out there, and that was just so cool to see her at the Ryman in the audience. It's cool to see your friends in a different state. You're in a different state or a different area of the world, and you run into friends. It just feels even cooler, because you're just like, wow, I know these people from parts of my life, and now here we are in other areas and hanging out. It was just great. One of the highlights definitely was Steve Gorman picking me up on Record Store Day Saturday and driving me around to all the cool record stores. We went to Grimey's, we went to Third Man, and just had a great day talking music and enjoying that. I just love that man. I consider him one of the best drummers on the planet and an incredible friend. And I could talk music with him all day and night. We went to Grimey's. It was a scene, man. They had bands playing. Brendan Benson was out there playing with this woman, Ashley. I forget her name. It was great. I'll have to look that up. Hold on here. Here it is. I got it. Oh, I got lucky. Ashley Monroe, I believe it was. Really cool. We went to Third Man, and I picked up the new Sleep record. Sleep, an incredible Bay Area band who hadn't put out a record in 20 years, just all of a sudden just secretly just drops a record on 420. And there it is, boom, on two-tone vinyl at Third Man, green and black vinyl, just oozy looking. Looks cool, this vinyl. Most important, this record kills. I mean, kills. Get this thing right away. The brand new Sleep. Everybody asking me what I got on Record Store Day. I only got one record because I was traveling, and I didn't want to travel with a bunch of fucking records on a plane. There's no bigger nightmare than getting home and the covers are all bent and shit. I like my stuff minty. I like it. I like my vinyl mint. I don't like my shit bent up in case I got to sell it, in case the ship goes down. Anyway, Steve, I love you, man. That was great. And like I said, the Nashville Comedy Festival was going on, and there's all these cool friends out there. Sal, Impractical Jokers, Sal Volcano was there, and he asked me to do one of his shows. It was in this sold-out theater with Nate and Paul, Nate Bargatze and Paul Verzi. Verzi was on the Burr shows too, so we hung out quite a bit and had a great time, just laughing our asses off as Verzi had a bad case of diarrhea all weekend. Everybody was breaking down. People were falling apart in Nashville. I ate about 7 gallons of fucking barbecue and have been paying the price since, man. Just way too much meat. I'm a Deegan. Deegans, they eat meat where there's historic meat landmarks. Historic meat landmarks like Kansas City, Austin, Nashville, Oakland, anywhere there's historic barbecue. Even New York, Mighty Quinn's, that place knocks me out. Toronto, I'm still giving the best barbecue award to Toronto Aft. But there's some places that are seriously creeping up on them, like Mighty Quinn's in New York. So I ate a gallon of barbecue. I had an amazing time. I love Nashville, and I hope to be back at Zany's headlining. I love the club, and I love the owners and the people that work there. And thank you, everybody that came out and enjoyed the weekend with us. It would have been shit without you guys. That's just the bottom line. Without friends in the audience, nothing's happening. Speaking of friends, got a new friend here. Great guest today. You like Def Leppard? Oh my God, I can't even tell you how much I love Def Leppard. When I was growing up, On Through the Night, High and Dry, Pyromania, those records probably spun in my cassette player and my, what was it? I think I had a 88 or 89. I can't remember. Maybe 92, maybe 88. Toyota Tercel with the Kraco cassette player with some Jensen triaxles with a under the dash power booster. Remember that one? You just press the button, boo, you get a little fucking power bump, like a shot of blow, just wow. And you just fucking, back then before anybody dug bass, you just threw treble up. That's why I don't have a right ear. Threw on songs that just killed me, like Die Hard, The Hunter, Billy's Got a Gun, Too Late for Love, Stage Fright. That shit on Pyromania, unbelievable. Of course, High and Dry is just a masterpiece. But my boy Phil Collen, he comes on board in 82, and that band becomes the biggest band in the world for years, with records like Pyromania and Hysteria. Hysteria is still one of the biggest selling records of all time. A couple Diamond Awards for that, meaning you sold 10 million. It was incredible to talk to this man. Maidworn set it up. Again, thank you to Maidworn. The best rock and roll shirts on the planet. If you don't know Maidworn, I've had Blaine, the owner, on the podcast. He makes some of the coolest rock shirts by hand, and he's an absolute legend, and I love him. And he's been setting up these great interviews with Cypress Hill and Phil Collen and some other ones coming up that I'll keep under my hat right now till they happen. Anyway, we did it live at the Fred Segal on Sunset at the Maidworn pop-up shop. There's about 100 people there, and we had a great time. And Phil is just a fantastic human and a crushing guitar player, and an honor to have him on, man. Just a huge guest for Let There Be Talk. Huge guest. Def Leppard is, they're no joke still. They sell out arenas, no problem, all over the world. And they're about to start a tour with Journey, doing all the arenas across America. I'm looking forward to seeing them at the Forum in October. I want to get into that right now. We're going to bring them on. Before I do, just real quick, some upcoming dates. You want to come see me play comedy? You want to see me play comedy? Are you out there? You want to see me play comedy? Come check me out. Friday, hometown, coming home, May 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, doing the Punchline. Please get tickets now. Get them. Don't pull the old, when you coming, the day after I left. Fuck you. Don't do that. I'm on to your tricks now. This is 8 years of doing comedy. Get your ass to the shows, everyone. Don't say next year I'll catch you. Do it. Punchline, May 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, San Francisco. Arizona, House of Comedy, May 17, 18, 19, 20. Boston. Fuck yeah, I'm headlining Boston again. I can't wait to do this. June 7th at Nick's Comedy Stop. Get tickets right now. to all the shows on my website, deandelray.com. New York City, May 23rd through the 31st at The Stand. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love all you guys. Keep the candles lit. Here he is, Phil Collen. All right, guys. It's that time to start the interview right here. Get it together. The one and only Phil Collen from Def Leppard. Give it up for him.
I wonder where that guitar pick went.
Yeah,
you've got him up here, yeah.
That's so funny.
How we doing? Yeah, good?
Thanks a lot, man. Little maid-worn pop-up shop here at Fred Segal.
I know, I like it. It's really cool. I like the bus as well. That's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that's like something off of Almost Famous, the
right?
old dirty bus.
Yeah.
You know, just like they just took a Greyhound, no bunks. You just kind of sat around. Remember those?
That was the touring. That's how you used to do it.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. When we got there, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever had a bad butt. Maybe back in
we
Girl.
did, yeah. Like vans. You'd be sleeping in a van with all the gear, or you'd have to break into a car because all the gear was in a van, and you'd have to sleep in a car for the night, and you're in England and it's freezing and it's horrible. So yeah. So we done all that, yeah.
That's not with Def Leppard. That's like with Girl or somebody.
Yeah, before Girl even. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's talk a little bit. You know, like I've never met you, but I first saw Def Leppard on the High and Dry tour, and I always wanted to ask you because it's such a radical thing that happens in your life, especially. You get asked to audition for Def Leppard, you get in, and then you do Pyromania, and it's a rocket ride.
Right. I didn't actually get an audition or even asked. I was helping the guys out. Actually, I didn't realise this, but I got a thank you credit on High and Dry, which was the album before I joined, and because I knew the guys, I'd lent them an amp.
Yeah, they asked you to join during High and Dry tour, right?
Well, they asked me to stand in for something, and then it all was okay. I didn't need to do that. But then, they're doing Pyromania, and Joe said, Pete Willis isn't in the band anymore. Can you help us out in the studio? Like do some solos and lead guitar? I said, yeah. I knew the guys, so I came down, played on that, and then it never stopped, and that was like 36 years ago. So
no audition? They never looked at any other guys?
No, I was just helping out, and it went so quick from that point on. I mean, there was obviously all the playing the clubs and the bars and all of that stuff before support acts and everything, but from that point on, it went, it blew up. And, Mutt Lange, who would produce the album, he had a kind of a master plan just to make this music kind of accessible to the regular people, make rock music kind of okay with the masses, and it really worked a treat. Well,
I mean, you got to look at the jump from On Through the Night, then High and Dry, then Pyromania. It's such a crazy, it's like light years away, musically and production and everything.
Right.
Same producer, High and Dry, on to Pyromania, but man, the songwriting and everything. When you went in there, they already had the songs wrote, right?
On Pyromania, yeah.
That's just crazy. Like when you went in, you had to be like, wow, you guys really stepped up your game.
Oh, totally, yeah. It was a totally different album, and all the backing tracks were amazing, so it was great to play over. And Mutt Lange said, just have fun, play solos, and he found out I could sing, and then he said, okay, sing on this and this, and it was just the fun part. All the heavy lifting had already been done.
I heard Mutt sang a lot of the backgrounds on those records.
He does on every album he does. So you hear him on Highway to Hell and Shania Twain, Bryan Adams, So everything he ever does, you hear his voice in there. And a lot of the Def Leppard, he sings on everything we do,
That guy's so mysterious, right? Like, he doesn't do any interviews, nothing. He just disappears.
Because he's so busy. That's why. He's working all the time.
He's just swimming in his money, all those points he had on the records.
Yeah. Well, that as well. But he works. He's the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. Stop thief. I saw that.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone
shirt stealers.
Wow. I saw that. We all heard you.
He's not even stealing a Def Leppard shirt.
Well, there's one behind it. Yeah. Fantastic.
I've had a ton of people on my show, and I always ask them who the gateway band was when they started out. Depending on your age, I'm 52. it's usually Kiss. Anybody before that would be Zeppelin. Who was it for you?
My first show I went to with my cousin, I was 14, was Deep Purple, and it was the Machine Head tour.
I heard you're on the back of the record.
Yeah, on the
Made in
live
Japan.
album. I know, it's crazy, yeah.
That's insane,
That
right?
blew us away, you know, absolutely.
I mean, there you are, like on a classic record.
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah, my first concert, so yeah.
your first concert, you're on the back
Yeah.
of a classic record.
There you go. So that done it, you know, that was the moment that changed
And
it all.
so it's Richie Blackmore for you. Is that
Yeah.
who gets you into it?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's interesting because your first guitar is an SG, right?
Right.
So I thought for sure maybe it was early AC/DC, or Sabbath.
I mean, you know, it's Gibsons and Fenders were like holy grail. You know, even to touch them is like, oh wow, these are so cool. And so this Gibson SG came up. I was just playing it the other day actually.
You still have it?
Oh yeah.
No.
I got it for my 16th birthday. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's
you didn't trade it for like blow or anything
oh,
like me.
No. That was all free.
Yeah,
you know.
that was all free. You had the right bread to me, man.
Yeah.
I gave up a good Charvel for a sack.
Yeah, the guitar that my mum and dad actually had to. My dad was a truck driver, and they went into debt, and they got this thing, and I didn't realize till later what a sacrifice, for their little boy to get this thing, this guitar, and that's all I did. I just sat down and played it for years.
I don't know if a lot of people know, but you were actually asked to join or audition maybe for Maiden before you got into Def Leppard. And I always found that interesting because early on with guitars, Ibanez was known as their lawsuit copy guitars. This is kind of some nerdy stuff for people out there. But then Paul starts playing the Iceman.
Yeah.
But really to me, the Ibanez people were you and Adrian Smith. You come out with the Destroyer, and I'm like, wow, man, like you really put Ibanez on the map back then with the photograph video right away.
Right,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, there he
absolutely.
is. There's
Yeah.
the new guy. He's got an Explorer. Pete played Explorer, but you were playing Ibanez. What made you choose that?
I was in Girl, and I liked the sound of that kind of hybrid Strat. I wanted something that played as easy as a Strat, but had a humbucker on it and had a whammy bar and all of those things. So that kind of did. It was a little awkward to play because it was so big and chunky, but it looked cool and it sounded. And that's actually what I played on the record. So Photograph, Rock of Ages, Falling, all those solos was actually that guitar. And then later on, it's always continued that quest. The perfect sound, the perfect hybrid, and Jackson guitars. I've been playing them for 30 years now.
Wow, 30. I mean, they kind of blew everyone out of the water, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going with everybody was like all over Strats and Les Pauls, and then Charvel comes around, Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, and then all of a sudden Jackson just blows it out of the water.
Definitely, yeah.
They play so amazing, right?
Absolutely, and they get better and better. My new ones are ridiculous. So yeah.
Now, once you do Pyromania, when you're in there, are you like, these are some hit songs?
You think so, but I've thought that before, and we've all done that. But it sounded different. It was an absolute hybrid of rock and pop. It wasn't like a pop group trying to be a bit rocky, or some hip hop star going, I'm a rock star. It was actually an absolute pure hybrid of the two. It was like great songs sung with a bit of like rock. It was like a punk ethos, almost like screaming and shouting out in tune instead of just. A lot of the American bands had really great vocal harmonies, but it was a bit soft and sweet.
Right.
And this was a very British punk approach to it. It was screamy and shouty, AC/DC, Sex Pistols, and that.
Some of those deep tracks, which you guys don't play, which is always weird to me, but like Billy's Got a Gun, Stage Fright, that kind of stuff. That's really pretty damn rockin' still. Of course, you got the poppy songs, but those could have been right on High and Dry.
Yeah, they could have. And the problem is, and this comes up a lot, people go, why don't you play that? Because you'll be say you're in an arena and it's 10,000 people and you play Wasted, which we've done before at Wembley, and one person goes nuts and 9,000 people go, what's that? Where's Photograph? Yeah.
There's two eras of Def Leppard, though. Because if you look at it, you got the High and Dry and On Through the Night, and that's really like that era of new wave British heavy metal. And then you get to Pyromania. But I was always wondering if you announced that you were doing, say, the High and Dry record or the whole Pyromania record, would a whole different audience show up? Like, whoa, I want to go see that old style Leopard.
Yeah, maybe now. I still think, a lot of people ask this, they go, well, I like the early stuff. I think the band was still trying to get its identity, and it didn't really hit until Pyromania, and then really the ultimate Def Leppard sound is Hysteria.
Right.
And that's when we had our own sound, and it didn't sound like anyone else, and then people would copy that. I think the earlier albums, as with any band, you're trying to find your feet and your sound.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, people and artists don't get that chance anymore, because you kind of live or die by your first song. So it's like, it's like Gladiator.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we were kind of fortunate that we were able to work at it, and we had these great people around us kind of inspiring us, and Mutt Lange was right up the top there. It'd go, okay, this has to be better, it has to be, we have to work at it. And it was killer, it was awesome.
Do you guys, are you yourself, do you ever just like say, oh, I want to play one of these tunes and check it out? Like, something like Billy's Got a Gun?
Yeah, we occasionally do that. And the big problem we have is the set list time.
Right.
You have to play Pour Some Sugar on Me, Hysteria, Photograph, Love Bites. You have to, if you don't, someone's going to get really upset.
It's like the Stones,
right?
You're in the Stone situation.
Yes.
I was out with the Stones for like 4 years, and I'm like, does anybody really want to hear Satisfaction? But they get mad if they don't play it.
Right. So if you said, okay, well, we're not going to do Photograph tonight, but we're going to do Ride Into the Sun instead. So there you go. That's what had happened. So yeah. Yeah, we have to do it. It's whatever. Everywhere you have to do that.
When you get in and start working on Hysteria, that's really when you contribute to some of the songwriting, right? I read somewhere, is this true that you guys used like 100 Rockmans in there, like for your guitar tone? Were you guys using those Tom Schultz Rockmans?
Well, I had one, not 100, but yeah, I had one. I still got that as well.
Yeah. Somebody, I love when people are like the myths around Hysteria. It's just like, how'd they get this sound?
Yeah.
And you put that thing on right now, and it still sounds magical. There's no dated sounds on it. It's just an incredible sounding record.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but it was mainly the Rockmans. They had like 3 settings. It was like clean, semi-distorted, and distorted. So that was it. And then
no heads or no Marshall, just Rockman.
Yeah, Rockmans and a little Gallion Kruger. I mean, there's the odd little thing where I use like an amp, like a Randall amp or something like that. But for most part, it was all done on those Rockmans. Yeah.
Wow. And where did you guys do that record?
All over the place. We done a vocal in Paris. Most of it was done in Holland, and between Holland and Dublin, Ireland. And then we were kind of running out of money because it was costing a fortune. So then we went into a little jingle studio.
Oh, where they do money. Like commercials?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and most of it was done there. A majority of it in Dublin, in St Stephen's Green. If no one knows Ireland or has been there, so it was right there. So down this little alleyway in this tiny little jingle studio. Yeah, that a lot of it. You can do stuff anywhere, Oh,
yeah. Especially now. You could just do it in here.
Well, we're just done the new Tesla album, which will be out later on this year. We done it on tour. So we would find a trailer, a bunker, backstage, any room, and it sounded amazing. And the record sounds ridiculous, so can't wait for that one.
You think you'll ever work with Mutt again, or is there no need to do that?
No, I'd love to. I just find him totally inspiring, and I think if you can find anyone in your life that inspires you constantly, you've got to do it. So I'd love to. It's a time constraint, really. But he's great. You always get so much out of it when you're sitting in there with him. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look back at the records that you've done, what one really do you think, besides Hysteria, of course, that's the one that just, smasher, but what one do you think, like, this is really, like, rocking and I love this record?
We all like Slang because, there you go. It was so different.
Right,
right. Hysteria is my favorite album, obviously, and we put so much into that. But Slang was really cool because we approached it completely different, and it was kind of a journey for us and a discovery. So it was just a different thing. And you know, in an artist's career, you need to do something like that where it's totally expression and a totally different vibe for different reasons and all of that. It was great. So yeah, I love that one.
That's why I always love Metallica. Like, people are like, why did they do this record or that record?
Yeah.
It's like they go crazy. I mean, we got two bands out there, AC/DC and Ramones, that did what they did.
Yeah.
But everybody else, man, you'll start to go crazy.
You've got to change it up, like Queen. You know, like bands like that that had big careers.
Queen.
Yeah, you know.
Now, you live in Orange County.
I do. Yeah.
Which is
the OC.
Yeah. Which is interesting to me, because once you become the band becomes big stars, people just kind of live where they live in the band, and then you don't see each other till rehearsal or whatever. But what made you pick Orange County instead of Hollywood? Because we're here in Hollywood, which is full rock and roll. You can live in the hills. Absolutely.
Well, I've had places. I had a place just down the road there for a while.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, it's really cool, but it's crazy, as you know, and it's kind of good to get away from it. So Orange County is great, 12 minutes to the beach. It's pretty laid back, almost looks rural if you look at it from a certain angle. So yeah, no, it's really cool, and you get here pretty quick. I drive up and we rehearse or whatever we have to do in LA. So it's kind of nice to have both. Have it kind of that close,
The other guys live in town. I saw Rick Allen once out in Malibu at a Starbucks. Is he out there?
He was. He's actually he's moving, or he just moved. He's actually going up north a bit, Northern California. Gets cold though, and it's
I'm not a heat guy.
No?
No. I mean, you're from England, right?
Yeah, that's why I left, because I'm a heat guy.
Yeah. People from England, they love the sun. They're like, the sun.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it.
I'm like, melanoma. No thanks.
Well, there is that,
but let's talk a little bit about, it's interesting that you replaced Pete Willis, and then later on you have an alcohol problem. Steve had an alcohol problem, and it's interesting to think about, right? It's like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And now you've been clean. I look up to you because of your diet and everything. I lost 40 pounds in the last couple of years.
Really?
I quit sugar,
right? That'll do it.
Flour and all that. Yeah. But way long ago, you quit booze and you quit meat and everything. When you first quit drinking, because I know what it's like. You're playing with guys, and Steve's still drinking. Are you just kind of like, hey, man, or it's just like, hey, this is rock and roll or whatever?
No, he was my best friend.
Right.
So, if you can drink and you're doing it okay and you're responsible and all that stuff, fine.
Right.
But if you have a problem, then you should stop. And Steve, unfortunately, had a problem, and he couldn't stop. And it actually, we all know what happened. You know? So I was able to stop and not start again. So there's been actually 31 years this month.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
So me and Steve would talk about it all the time. We go, man, I wish I could stop doing this, because I'm not one of those guys who can have a few drinks and then call it a day,
Especially on the road. I mean, we lost so many good guys. This is pre-help or whatever. You didn't really come out and go, hey, I need some help. It's just kind of like, I guess I drink and that guy doesn't,
Well, he did. He went and tried to get some help, but it's a process, and it's really hard to do that. And again, especially if you're in an industry like this, where everyone's kind of going, oh, take this, take that.
Yeah.
Constantly,
Yeah. The guitar, the dynamics between the two of you was absolutely amazing. He was always, to me, kind of a Jimmy Page, sloppy radical, great player, and then you were really technical. When you guys first start playing together, do you guys really sit down and figure out who's going to play what? Are you like weaving in and out, or is it just natural in the studio?
It was pretty natural. Actually, we never really had to do that. There's a great thing I read, Keith Richards, him and Ronnie Wood, they weave in sonic tapestries.
Exactly.
And I love that. And we kind of did that. And Steve had this whole idea about harmony chords. Like if you got an orchestra or a keyboard, you can do different inversions, and we'd have, with Mutt, you'd do counter rhythms, and, there was so much you could do with two guitars, and we kind of totally just kind of slotted into that, and it did what was very natural, actually.
Oh, it was amazing sounding, man.
Thank you.
How long did that Hysteria record take? 2 years or something?
Yeah, 2.5, something like that. You know, we wrote it in Dublin, or most of it, and we attempted it. Then Mutt had to do a Cars album. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, so he splits midway through.
He splits because it took longer than we thought, and then we carried on with some other people, and that didn't work out. He finished the Cars album, came back, and then we spent about another year, and then that was it. So,
what's he do? The Shake It Up record?
No, it was. There you go. Look at that. Yeah.
There
Eric
you go.
the Trainer.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, I don't think Mutt did a bad record.
No, I don't think so. I just it was pretty amazing.
Now, I was going to ask you about once you get on the Hysteria tour, you guys are out for days, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's got to be a grinder, right? I mean, after a while, you're like, I got to get out of here.
Well, yeah, but we toured for about 1.5 years on that. I mean, it came out and it kind of tanked, the album. We didn't really do
because Woman was the first track.
Yeah.
And I remember people going like, what is this? It was just kind of weird. You had the cartoon video. We were talking about it earlier. And it was a totally different thing, you know? And then I think it was, what do you think? Love Bites, Smash?
No, it was Pour Some Sugar on Me. So it went Women, Animal, Hysteria, and then Pour Some Sugar on Me, and then it all changed.
Were you guys picking the single? Because I had Cypress Hill on a couple days ago, and they said the record company was like, this is the single. And they were like, really? And they're like, no way. And then the single took off. But were they picking the singles, and you guys were like, no, Pour Some Sugar on Me's the hit?
No. Mutt Lange thought that. And in England, we released Animal first, and it was our first top 10 hit.
Oh, wow.
So the label chose that, and they were bang on the money. I think they wanted to release that here as well, but you know, management and with us was like, we don't want it, because this is kind of a poppy sounding album. So that was the reason that Women came out, because it still had a bit of rock thing to it, and it worked out great. 25 million records later, you know, so,
I mean, I think they invented the diamond marker for you guys, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, especially when we got the first Diamond Awards. If you go 10 times platinum,
10 million,
plus,
it's just incredible.
So that was cool.
Now, when you're doing the Adrenalize record, Steve passes, and you have to play all the guitars. You played all the guitars on that record, right?
Yeah.
And I read somewhere where you were like, this is kind of weird because I got to play his parts.
Yeah.
Because was it that you guys demoed it pretty extensively before?
Yeah. We had all these really great parts. So when I had to learn Steve's parts, it was like a ghost. You know, there was Steve, you know, coming out the speakers. So it was kind of weird. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's get back more into your diet here. You are vegan, and you work out a lot?
Yeah. I train with Eric right there.
That guy?
Eric the trainer. So, yeah, we're getting ready for the tour and everything. But, I think I like that it's better than the alternative. If you don't work out, or if you're non-active, especially, you know, I turned 60 last birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
Man,
So
you look
thank
great.
you guys. Thank you. So
I'm 52 and you look better than me.
But you know, you got to do something. You got to kind of modify your diet, modify your activity, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to go crazy and work out like a fiend, but you have to do something as you get older, because the body starts kind of letting you know.
What I find is when you get older, last week I did this big tribute to Bon Scott, and I sang for an hour, and what I find when you get older is volume, stage volume and concert volume is like a knockout to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like brutal, actually, especially after a couple hours, you're up there and you get off, you're like, man, this is loud. You're going in ears, right?
For the last, 17 years, yeah.
Right.
So I used to have tinnitus. I thought it was going all the time, and I started using these things, and the howling stopped. So yeah, and so we do control that. You know, I do find it. Usually cymbals will do it. If you're, and everyone's cranked up, and the side fills, the monitors, and everything, it will make you deaf.
Oh, it's absolutely, and it's also like it's a punisher on your physique, just yourself.
Definitely, yeah. Give you headaches, and it's a constant battle, you know. So if you can control that, it's great. So we're able to do that, and all of us in the band, you know, it sounds great. I was rehearsing today, actually, with Vivian and Rick, and we were just having a blast. It just sounds amazing. So, but it's controlled, you know.
You guys rehearsing right now?
Well, we did for the last couple of days because we had new equipment, so we was trying all that out before we do real rehearsals in about a month.
How long you guys rehearse for a tour? You're getting ready to go out with Journey, right?
Yeah. We it depends. You know, we've over rehearsed before. We've been in there for a month,
Right.
and then other times we go. Well, we was on tour last year. We only need 2 days, so somewhere in between there. Yeah. I know. You know, this is what we do now. This is God's honest truth. We all play along to the DVD. We've done this thing called Live in Detroit. If anyone's heard this DVD.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you. So I put that on and sing and play along to it. So it's great. Put the mirror there so you can see if you got your... Yeah.
That's your rehearsal.
Yeah, it's cool.
Any surprises in the set list this year?
We're going to... just a couple. We have to, you know... Journey have got a lot of hits, and so we have to keep in line with that. We are promoting our catalogue. You know, it's not like a new album per se. We just released the whole thing on Universal.
iTunes fine.
Well, iTunes and Spotify, you can get everything everywhere. But we're back with Universal, which is great. They've been awesome.
Wow.
And we're all working together to make it work. So we're promoting the catalogue. So it's like 13 albums of material to get out there. So, you know, we want to kind of touch most of it.
Did they re-release it on vinyl yet?
Bits and pieces, yeah. You know, 180 gram vinyl, which is awesome. I'm kind of really getting into that.
Are you a vinyl guy?
Ish. You know, I mean, I'd like to, but I've only got about 5 records. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've got more than that. I've got loads in England, you know.
You got a place in England still?
Yeah, you know, it's where, I got it for my mum like years ago, and after she passed away, I just hung on to it, you know.
What do you listen to right now? Do you listen to rock, like any new stuff, or just...
Not any new stuff, because I'm waiting for something to be really good. I find that there's some okay stuff, but the motivation for being a band or an artist is a lot different, you know. People want to get recognised. And back in the day, you know, people wanted to create music and share it. You know, I'm an artist and check this out. And that doesn't really happen so much anymore. It's like, look at me and...
Yeah.
You know, so.
There's some good rock bands out there right now.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting to hear it, you know, whatever it is. And nothing either sounds too derivative or hasn't got the passion or whatever. So, just waiting. I listen to everything. I listen to 70s funk. I listen to jazz. I listen to everything, you know, blues, you name it.
I think the main problem is we're exposed to so much over the years. I mean, if we look at it now, you've been listening to music since the 70s, and so have I. After a while, you're like, oh, I get it. They're doing this or that or what. You know what I'm saying? And there's not going to be any kind of, I think, monster surprise. Like, wow.
You're right. But then occasionally, like a Nirvana or a Sex Pistols will come along that's completely against the grain. Yeah. And everyone goes, whoa, this is cool. And I'm waiting for that. You know, there's some other stuff that happens every now and again. Like Skrillex, I thought was awesome. You know, it was just kind of... just a different slant on stuff, you know. Yep. So it comes up every now and again, but still waiting, you know.
Are you still doing that band with Paul Cook?
Yeah, and Paul actually was staying with us this week. Actually, him and his wife Jenny came over, and I'm also doing Delta Deep, which is a blues.
Oh yeah,
heavy
just
blues.
Read about that.
Yeah, funk, soul, rock kind of thing. We just released our second album, a live album, and we're working on the third.
Are you the singer on that?
Debbie Blackwell Cook.
Oh, wow.
Who my wife Helen there, sitting down there.
Awesome.
Is her godmother. And she sings, she's, Debbie's like this 64-year-old. And actually, we just went out on tour, was on the G3 tour with Joe Satriani and John Petrucci. And the reviews were great. They're going, this is the new Ella Fitzgerald. And she kind of sounds like a kind of a more extreme version of Tina Turner in a prime. So we got all that thing going. It's just really cool.
Wow, that is cool. What was the battle with the iTunes? It was all over royalties, right? Streaming?
No. We had a clause in our contract, and a lot of other bands were just releasing all their stuff, and we felt our stuff had more value than that, you know. One of us died, one of us lost our arm, we spent millions and millions of dollars, and we're like, we ain't going to give this away like everyone else, and just treated it like it was nothing. We really put a value on it. So we were able to hold out because of something that our previous managers had put into place. And then when the time was right, which was this year, we were able to do that. And we're really excited about it. It actually worked out great, and it made it a bit more special. Otherwise, I don't think we'd be even here talking about it. You know, So it really worked out well for us. And I think, like I said, we put value on it, and everyone else felt the same way.
Was that, I think, were you guys one of the last holdouts? We had the Beatles.
Right.
And then we had you guys, and I think Garth Brooks or someone, were the last holdouts.
Yeah, I think so. It's changing. Everything's changing. The industry's completely changing. And it's great. We can really, get this out there. Spotify, Apple Movies, iTunes. And the fact that we're a real band that tours, and we're not like, there's that one guy from the original band. It's the real band, and it's it's great. And I love it when you see that. We toured with Aerosmith recently in South America, and
they're the only guys with all original discs.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was inspiring.
Yeah.
They were amazing, and it was just really good to see that. It just made you feel great,
I think Aerosmith is a lot like Def Leppard. It has two waves of fans.
Yes.
I mean, of course, you have...
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Totally
You've got
agree.
the 70s Aerosmith up to the Pump record, which is 82 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then later on with, all their... I don't want to close my eyes, all that stuff. So that's a real juxtapose, too, when you're at an Aerosmith show.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Because they might throw in, let the music do the talking. And people are like, I'm taking a piss on this one. And I'm there going like, this is the song, dude.
You're that guy. You're that one in that 10,000. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I saw the High and Dry tour, and it was one of the most monumental things that ever happened to me, because at the time I was playing music, and I couldn't believe that these guys at the same age as me were writing this level of music, because I had been to Sheffield. And if you've never been to Sheffield, where Def Leppard's from, it's basically a little garbage can town, an old steel city,
Well, it's Pittsburgh. It's a sister city.
It's the same thing. And then once steel goes to China, it's a ghost town.
Right.
To think about these kids, they demo up some songs, they put out an EP, then they do On Through the Night, then, High and Dry. To get out of where they were, as I was standing at this train station, I was like, I can't even believe this is where they're from,
No, it's great. And Joe and his mum was sticking labels on the first EP, it was like really indie, that's what indie bands used to do after that.
Yeah.
But, it was a really cool thing. And I think in England, there wasn't a lot to do. So you'd have all these great bands that would copy American bands. You'd have the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, Zeppelin, Queen, Us, Maiden. You'd have all these great bands coming out of there because that's all there was to do. But we were copying American bands, even the way we sing. It's like we sing with American accents because we learned to sing off American bands.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk to Phil Lewis at all anymore? Phil Lewis was the singer in LA Guns. Now you guys know that, right? And he sang in Girl. You ever talk to him?
I haven't spoken to him for a while. I saw Simon Laffey recently. We just done a thing at the Royal Albert Hall for the Teenage Cancer Trust, which was amazing. So we played there, and I saw Simon. So he was in Go. He was the bass player.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be amazing to see you guys play one gig, just a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, getting the time, or getting everyone, on the same continent would be a good thing, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that Bowie Ronson stuff. Of course, we lost Bowie. That was a tragic, man.
Yeah,
great. Did you see the Bowie documentary?
I've seen a few of them. Yeah,
the one that was on recently was just incredible.
I did see that. Yeah, when he was doing the Black Star.
It's like his last year. Yeah. That was amazing to see. Bowie is like. To me, Bowie is so next level. Like every couple of years he would change. You know.
Unbelievable. And, I was 14 again, when I heard that. And Spiders from Mars, Mick Ronson, who also passed away, and Trevor Bolder, they all passed away from cancer. Yeah. Which is a real drag. But, they just made some great stuff. And when I was 14, I went to see the Aladdin Sane tour.
You saw him live?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It was great. And then me and Joe, we done a benefit years later for when Mick Ronson passed away. We done a thing at Hammersmith Odeon, and we ended up touring, doing all those songs together. Right. And we called it the Cybernauts, and it was great. The songs were just amazing.
Now you're vegan, Is that because of cancer and stuff? People get a lot of cancer from meat and everything, or is it an animal thing? What is it?
Like when I was younger, I remember my grandmother had left a steak out for me, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll put it in there. And I looked, and it was bleeding.
Yeah.
And it had veins in it, and it was like, yeah, I don't think I want to eat that. And so that started it off, and then it became, I actually felt sick, and then. The fridge, it just reminded, when they found Jeffrey Dahmer's fridge, they opened it up and there was all these body parts. It was like, that's how it felt to me. It's like, there's some liver there, there's a heart there. And he had the guy's head, but, and it's like, oh my God, this is disgusting. But we get used to doing that with animals, and it's pretty gross. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm going to puke if I eat this. So that's really what kind of got me into it. And then and I was able to stop. And it's funny, when you first stop and you don't want to put people out, you think you're being impolite.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but I'm going to throw up. I'm not putting this in my mouth. It's a dead, rotting carcass.
Yeah.
So me personally, I know it's everyone has their own thing, but for me, that was I was able to stop, and I just felt empowered actually after I did that. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
It's like so crazy to be a vegan early on when you were a vegan in a rock band on tour back then.
Right.
You basically just ate dirt or, flowers.
Yeah.
And now it's easy to be vegan.
It's
they
great.
got all these great people make something you're eating here like, this is incredible. They're like, yeah, that's that's dirt and plants. And
yeah,
it
no, we
tastes
still
great.
have Rick Allen makes dirt smoothies. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but you go, hey, check one of these out, and Joe's like, I don't want to drink Rick's smoothies. You make better ones. They're better. This is going to get back to him, I have to see him, So the dirt.
You were talking about my dirt smoothie, wanker.
No, my dirt smoothie. Yeah.
Is Rick? Is he a vegan?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hence the dirt smoothie.
How about anybody else in your band?
We have 2.5. So Vivian's a pescatarian, so he's a vegetarian that eats fish.
Right.
So it's almost a vegetarian, but not quite. And me and Rick are vegan. Yeah.
How's Viv doing?
He's great. He's busy. He's actually leaving tomorrow morning to do a Last in Line show.
Oh yeah.
So he's filling all these things in, and it's exhausting, So he's doing great though. He's really good, and it was wonderful playing with him and Rick today and yesterday. We had a blast,
That's so cool, man. Where does the tour kick off? Where's the kickoff?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And how many dates?
We got like 60 days, I think. 60 days with Journey.
Wow.
Then we do Hysteria live in Australia, Japan, New Zealand.
Oh, you're doing the whole record.
Yeah, and the Scorpions are opening up for us. Then we come to England.
Scorpions are opening for you guys.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
And then we do the UK, and Cheap Trick's doing that. And then next year, Europe, South America, and if America wants us back, perhaps we'll come back and do some more stuff then.
You think you'll ever do the Pyromania record, top to bottom?
Yeah, at some point. But, it's what the demand's for. And, we're getting a lot of requests for doing Hysteria. It's our biggest album. And
of course.
And it's cool, That's why we're rehearsing, because some of the songs, although we've played them, they're really tricky. And they're really hard to play the part and sing at the same time. So we're just giving an extra bit of love to get through so we don't mess it up when we really do it.
The dynamics on that record are super hard, too.
Crazy,
when you think about how it's ups and downs, it's not just straight rock in your face.
Absolutely, yeah.
Love Bites is a crazy hard tune to play. I try to play that, I'm just like, I'm out.
Well, we had a great story about that. So that went to #1, and we'd never played it as a band, never played it live. It was a studio song, everything was separate. And it's like, we got to learn this song. So we had 2 days off in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And we had to learn it, and it's like, we can't do this. It's like singing and playing, and what part? There's like 16 guitar parts going off, and you go, oh my God.
It's like an orchestra.
Yeah, choose 2 of them, and me and Steve figured it out, and then on top of that, you got to sing, and it was really scary, and we were messing it up, and we finally got it, and now it's like a walk in the park. It's really easy, but it's that first hurdle,
It's a great tune, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down today.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Great audience. I really appreciate it. Looking forward. I got to come see the tour. Where are you at in L.A. when you come?
Forum.
Yeah,
we just... Yeah, there you go.
Can I come out?
Don't ask me. Ask them. I have no idea.
I want to come out. Can you get me in?
I'm sure we'll be. I'm sure I'll sneak you in if you carry something in there. So yeah.
Everybody, say thanks to Phil coming down here.
Thank you.
Cheers. I can't thank you enough for doing this.
Absolute pleasure.
Let's get
you.
a photo real quick. And thanks everybody for coming out. One last question.
Yeah.
What was your favorite Def Leppard show ever to play? Like the favorite?
So this is really weird because
Yeah.
we just done it, but I keep saying we just done this Royal Albert Hall show,
Right.
and it was one of the best gigs we've ever done. So that one I remember more than anything else because it was recent. But I had been saying that it was for whatever reasons it just kind of
Wow.
kicked in. It was amazing, and we recorded it. You know, it's for, like I said, it was for the Teenage Cancer Trust. So it was a really good thing to do. But the venue is 150 years old. You know,
Yeah.
the Queen's been there. It's like Prince this and God knows what, and opera and God knows everything. It's amazing. So everything kind of worked out, and we were really good. The other thing is, I love playing and singing in Def Leppard. It's like my favourite band. We sing. It sounds like it's fake. I look over and I'm like, hey, someone using some tapes. It sounds so good, but that's
You
that's
guys are
just
here all live vocals now?
Yes, all live
For real?
vocals. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, really, and that's the other thing. You know, you see a lot of other bands, and it's
Right.
like, yeah, keyboards and that. No, we're really real, and
Wow.
that's why I'm so proud of it, and so pleased. You know, I look over at Sav and Joe and Viv, and I can't believe this is actually coming out of my mouth as well.
Wow,
so,
that's incredible.
So you know, we keep raising the bar. You know, trying to, and the playing gets better. I just went out on the G3 tour with Satriani and John Petrucci, and that made my guitar playing go through the roof, just being next to those guys every night, and just you know, you'd have to try and keep up. So it just made my playing so much better already. So I like that trajectory. You know, we just keep pushing it all the time.
Hands are all good? 60s old? Hands are all good?
They're amazing, yeah.
Oh, man.
Good.
Well, you're an incredible player, man.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you are
Thanks.
absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for coming down here
Pleasure.
today.
Again, thank you.
you.
That's really great.
Thanks for coming out, guys.